Have you ever had this moment? You meet someone new, you open your mouth, and suddenly your brain says, "Sorry, no English today."
Yes, and then you smile too much, say hi, and after that, nothing.
Exactly. And the funny thing is, you probably know enough English. You just do not know how to start.
That is why today's episode is so useful. We are talking about how to introduce yourself with confidence in English.
Welcome back to Daily English Loop. I'm Alex.
And I'm Lisa.
I have my coffee right here, so I am fully ready for this conversation.
And I have my tea, so I also feel calm, happy, and prepared.
That sounds very balanced. Coffee energy and tea energy.
A perfect team.
So let's begin with the truth. A lot of English learners think self-introductions must sound impressive.
Yes, they think they need big words, long sentences, or some perfect little speech.
But that is not true at all. A good self-introduction is not about sounding fancy.
It is about sounding clear, friendly, and natural.
Right. If you can say a few simple things in a relaxed way, that is already a strong introduction.
And honestly, simple English often sounds better.
I agree. When people first meet you, they do not want a speech.
They want a real person.
Exactly. So today, we want to help our listeners feel more comfortable when they introduce themselves at school, at work, at a party, in class, or even online.
Or at one of those language exchange events where everyone is holding a paper cup and trying to look confident.
Those events are always interesting.
Very interesting. Some people are super social. Some people look like they want to disappear into the wall.
I understand both feelings. So let's make this easy. What is the first thing people need for a good introduction?
First, they need to relax a little.
Good answer.
Because confidence is not only about words, it is also about how you say them.
Yes, before you even speak, people notice your face, your eyes, and your body language.
So, you do not need to stand like a movie star,
No, please do not do that.
but you can stand comfortably, smile a little, and look open.
Right. Small smile, relaxed shoulders, calm voice. That already helps a lot.
And if you're nervous, that's okay too.
Very okay.
Many people feel nervous when they meet someone new, even in their own language.
That is true. So if your heart is beating fast, you're not failing. You're just human.
I like that.
Now let's talk about the basic structure of a simple self-introduction. I think 4 things are very useful.
Name, where you're from, what you do, and something personal like a hobby or interest.
Perfect. That is enough for a very solid start.
Let's go one by one.
First, your name. This sounds easy, but many learners are not sure which sentence to use.
The good news is that there are a few easy options, and all of them work.
For example, I'm Alex.
Or, my name is Lisa.
I'm Alex sounds very natural and friendly.
My name is Lisa is also natural, but maybe a little more formal or careful.
Yes, if you meet someone casually, I'm Alex is perfect.
If you are in a more formal setting, like a meeting, an interview, or the first day at work, my name is Lisa sounds nice too. And if you have a nickname, you can share that.
Right. You can say, my name is Alexander, but please call me Alex.
Or, my name is Elizabeth, but everyone calls me Liz.
That kind of sentence makes the conversation feel warmer,
It also helps the other person know what to call you.
which is very helpful because nobody wants to guess.
Exactly. Now, after your name, the next common part is where you're from.
This is one of the easiest and most useful parts. You can say, I'm from Mexico, or I'm from Seoul, or I'm from a small town near Mumbai.
I like that last one because it sounds personal.
Yes, you don't have to give a long explanation. Just one small detail can make your introduction more interesting.
And if you live somewhere different now, you can add that too.
For example, I'm from Spain, but I live in Seattle now.
Or, I grew up in Bangkok, but I'm studying in Sydney now.
That kind of sentence gives the other person something to ask about.
Yes, because now the conversation has somewhere to go.
That is important. A good introduction does not stop the conversation.
It opens the conversation.
Nicely said. Now, the third part is what you do.
This could be your job, your studies, or your daily focus.
So you can say, I'm a designer.
I'm a student.
I work in sales.
I'm studying business.
I teach music.
I'm learning English right now.
That last one is especially useful for many listeners.
Yes, and it is honest. You do not need some impressive job title.
Not at all. You just need to share something real.
And if you are between jobs, that's okay too.
Absolutely.
You can say, I'm looking for a new job right now.
Or, I'm taking some time to study and plan my next step.
Or, I'm at home with my kids at the moment.
Exactly. There are many natural ways to talk about your life.
And then comes my favorite part.
The fun part.
Yes, the hobby, interest, or small personal detail.
This is the part that helps people remember you.
Definitely. If you only say your name and job, that is clear, but maybe a little plain.
But if you add one human detail, suddenly you feel more real.
Like, I love hiking on weekends.
Or, I'm really into photography.
Or, I spend too much money on books.
That sounds like you.
It is me.
I believe that.
What would you say, Alex?
I would say, I'm Alex. I work in media, and I love trying different kinds of coffee.
That is very you.
Thank you.
I might say, I'm Lisa, I'm studying communication, and I love sketching in little cafes.
That is also very you.
See? Those details are simple, but they give your introduction some personality.
And they create connection. Maybe the other person also loves coffee. Maybe they also like drawing. Now you have something in common.
Which makes the next part easier.
Exactly. And that brings us to something many learners forget.
After you introduce yourself, do not stop there.
Yes, please do not throw your introduction into the air and then stand there in silence.
A conversation is not a speech. It goes both ways.
I like to think of it like tossing a ball.
You speak, then you gently toss the ball to the other person.
So after you say something about yourself, ask a simple question.
How about you?
What about you?
And you?
Where are you from?
What do you do?
Those are easy and powerful.
They show interest and they keep the conversation moving.
Let's make a full example.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Alex. I'm from Chicago, but I live in Seattle now. I work in media, and I really love coffee. How about you?
That sounds natural, friendly, and complete.
And it isn't difficult.
Not at all.
Let's do another one.
Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm from Busan, and I'm studying communication here in the city. I love sketching and listening to podcasts. What about you?
Perfect. Short, clear, warm.
And notice something important. We are not using very long sentences.
Right. Short sentences are easier to say, easier to understand, and often more natural in first conversations.
That is especially true when you're nervous.
Good point. When people are nervous, long sentences can fall apart very quickly.
Yes, halfway through the sentence, your brain leaves the room.
Exactly. So keep it simple.
Now let's talk about different situations, because the way you introduce yourself can change a little depending on where you are.
Yes, the core information is the same, but the tone can be different.
Let's start with a casual setting.
Like a party, a class, a gym, or a friend's dinner.
In that kind of situation, your introduction can be more relaxed.
You can say, "Hey, I'm Alex."
Or, "Hi, I'm Lisa. I know Jamie from work."
That is a great one.
Because sometimes saying how you are connected helps immediately.
Yes, I'm a friend of Ben's. I'm in the same class as Mia. I just moved into the building.
Those little details make the first moment easier. Now, what about a more formal setting?
Maybe a job interview, a work meeting, or a professional event. In those situations, you can sound a little more polished, but still natural.
For example, "Hello, my name is Lisa. It's nice to meet you."
Or, "Hi, I'm Alex. I work with the marketing team."
You do not have to become a completely different person.
No, just slightly more formal, not robotic.
That is important. Sometimes learners try to sound professional, and they end up sounding too stiff.
Yes, like a machine reading from a card.
We do not want that.
We want real English, not robot English.
Exactly.
Another useful detail is greetings by time of day.
Yes, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening can make you sound polite and smooth.
Especially in formal situations.
But remember, good night is different.
Right. Good night is usually for leaving, not arriving.
So if you arrive at an event at 7 p.m., say good evening.
If you are leaving and going home, then good night works.
That small difference is very useful.
Now I think we should practice a real situation.
Yes, let's do a role play.
Okay, let's imagine we are at a weekend street market.
I love this already.
There's music, people are walking around, and someone is selling fresh bread.
And probably expensive candles.
Definitely expensive candles.
Okay, let's begin.
Excuse me, is this line for the coffee stand?
Yes, it is. It moves pretty fast.
Good. That is important information. I'm Alex, by the way.
Nice to meet you. I'm Lisa.
Nice to meet you too. Do you come here often?
Actually, yes. I live nearby, so I come here almost every Sunday. How about you?
I'm new to this area, so this is my first time here. I moved here a few months ago.
Oh, welcome. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Chicago, but I live here now. I work with a small media team, and on weekends, I usually explore new coffee places.
That sounds fun. I'm a communications student, and I love coming here to sketch people and little market scenes.
That is such a cool hobby.
Thanks. It helps me relax.
Well, now I feel like I'm standing next to an artist.
And I feel like I'm standing next to a coffee expert.
That may be too generous, but I will accept it.
See? That conversation was easy.
Yes, nobody used difficult English.
Nobody gave a long speech.
We just shared a little information, asked simple questions, and kept it moving.
That is exactly how many real introductions work.
Now let's talk about fear.
Yes, because even if you know the structure, you may still feel shy.
Very true. Some learners think, but I'm quiet, or I'm not good with new people.
That is okay. You do not need a loud personality to introduce yourself well.
I really want people to hear that.
Same here. Confidence does not mean being the loudest person in the room.
Sometimes confidence is just saying one simple sentence clearly.
Like, "Hi, I'm Lisa. I'm new here."
That is enough.
Or, "Hi, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you."
Also enough.
You do not need to entertain the room.
You do not need to be funny.
You do not need to impress everyone.
You just need to begin.
I love that. You just need to begin.
And once you begin, the pressure often gets smaller.
Because the hardest part is usually the first sentence.
Exactly. After that, the conversation can grow naturally.
And if you forget a word, that's okay too.
Yes, please do not think every mistake is a disaster.
Most people are more patient than you think.
If you don't understand a question, you can say, "Sorry, could you say that again?" Or, "Sorry, I didn't catch that." Or, "What does that mean?"
Those are excellent real-life phrases, and using them is not embarrassing. It's smart communication.
Because real communication is not about pretending you understand everything.
It's about staying calm and keeping the conversation alive.
Exactly. I also think practice helps a lot.
Definitely. You do not need to wait for a real event to practice your introduction.
You can practice in front of a mirror.
You can record yourself on your phone.
You can say it while making breakfast.
Or while making tea.
Or coffee.
Of course.
You can even write 2 or 3 versions of your self-introduction.
That is a great idea.
One very short version,
One casual version.
and maybe one more professional version.
For example, your very short version could be, "Hi, I'm Elisa. I'm a student and I love sketching."
Your casual version could be, "Hey, I'm Alex. I recently moved here. I work in media, and I'm always looking for good coffee."
And your more professional version could be, "Hello, my name is Lisa. I'm studying communication and I'm especially interested in digital storytelling,"
That gives you options depending on the situation.
which makes you feel more prepared.
And preparation creates confidence.
Very true.
Before we finish, let's do a quick review.
Yes, let's keep it simple.
First, start with a calm greeting and a small smile.
Then say your name in an easy, natural way.
After that, share where you are from.
Then say what you do or what you are studying or what you are focusing on right now.
Add one personal detail, like a hobby, interest, or something you enjoy.
And most importantly, ask the other person a question back.
Because a good introduction starts a conversation.
It does not end one.
Also remember that simple English is powerful.
And quiet people can still sound confident.
And mistakes are normal.
And practice really helps.
So if you're listening today and thinking, "I'm not good at introductions," maybe change that sentence.
Yes, maybe say, "I'm learning how to introduce myself better."
That is a much stronger mindset.
And a much kinder one, too.
I agree. So here's our little challenge for everyone listening.
In the comments, introduce yourself to us in English. Tell us your name, where you are from, what you do, and one thing you enjoy.
It can be short. Just keep it real.
We would love to read your introductions.
We really would.
And if this episode helped you, please like it, share it, and subscribe to Daily English Loop.
We make these conversations for English learners around the world, and we are very happy you were here with us.
Keep practicing, keep speaking, and do not wait to be perfect.
Just begin.
See you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.